Thank you once again for joining in. We have quite a bit on the agenda today. It probably looks like a little bit more than it actually is, but in respect of everyone's time, I will get right into it. The COBRA extension that was issued back on May 2nd for those currently enrolled on COBRA, giving the COBRA enrollees the ability to voluntarily waive off of COBRA and make application on an individual plan, subsidized or not, has now come to an end. So that extension for a special election period is over. So again, unless your clients can qualify in one of the categories for a qualifying event and get a special election period, you might want to look at short-term medical. We've had quite a bit of an increase in our short-term medical submissions, clearly because a lot of people have taken the wait and see approach and are left without coverage and, of course, without a qualifying event in order for them to enroll. So it is an option for them. Taking short-term medical coverage is not going to eliminate your clients, clients being subject to the tax penalty, but it would at least give them some level of protection against catastrophic loss. So just wanted to definitely mention that. The next bullet point we have is the health insurance marketplace renewals, and I have seriously, because the proposed rules that will be included in my healthcare reform newsletter this week, it's just, it's as convoluted as this entire law. It's built with a lot of pitfalls and a lot of auto enrollee or auto renewals, and I just think it's going to be a mess, just like everything else. But the proposed rule really would allow for those that are enrolled on the exchange and have given the marketplace or the IRS permission to continue to look in their tax documents. Those people look like it's going to be a pretty easy transition, an easy renewal for January 1st. Basically, there's really nothing that they need to do unless they want to go in and update their income or change their program. We've been assured that anyone that was enrolled through the marketplace under an agent, that the agent and broker national producer numbers will be passed through with the re-enrollment. So that's the good news in all of this. If your client did not give the marketplace permission to access tax records, you may want to get in touch with your enrollees right now and change that, because if they haven't, then they will have to go back into the marketplace and, of course, update their income information and choose a new plan and basically have a little bit more of a hand in enrolling. The carriers are supposed to be sending out a single notice to the enrollees no later than November 15th, advising them that their plan is up for renewal. There's a lot more to the proposed rules, but again, it's going to, if you look at it from a glass half full sort of approach, it will give you the ability to reach out to your client again and maybe talk to them certainly about enrolling for January of 2015, but possibly looking at, a gap plan or critical illness or some other line of insurance. So I know that's, a bit out there at this point, but we'll keep in touch with everyone and let them know what the actual details of the rules will be so that you can all be prepared for the renewals. The next bullet point, birth control and the Supreme Court decision regarding Hobby Lobby and Conestoga Wood. Many of you probably have heard through the news and certainly all of the comments on Facebook that the Supreme Court did rule in favor of Hobby Lobby and Conestoga Wood, basically saying, giving privately owned companies, employers, the religious freedom to choose not to offer the birth control for free, and some of the provisions within the birth control, or some of the medication that is allowed under the birth control category. So again, we're going to get a lot more information on this, but that's definitely, you know, for those of us that feel that the government has no place in private industry, it certainly is a win, at least from that perspective. For those of you in Western Pennsylvania, there was information that was just released both from UPMC as well as Highmark Inc. regarding their efforts to continue with their conversations, or at least start them back up. It does appear that they've come to a tentative agreement that will allow the use of UPMC and vice versa facilities for those either enrolled with Highmark or those enrolled with UPMC. So it is a step in the right direction. Certainly for those that are selling cases either with UPMC or Western Highmark out in Western PA, it does free up the uncertainty of the network issues. You know, there is a warning that this is a fluid situation and things may change, but again, for the most part, we would consider this definitely a positive for your insureds because, as we all know, the UPMC and Western Highmark agreement for network reciprocity came to an end, or would come to an end at the end of this year. So definitely this is a step in the right direction and should give all of us a little bit of comfort. The next bullet point is specific to Geisinger Health Plan Group for the 2 to 99 market. They are having a commission change, and the commission for most agents was $16 per member per month, pardon me, but their fiscal year starts 7/1, and that commission as of 7/1 is going to be changing to 15, and that's 15 per member per month. So that is a reduction. Everyone understands, of course, you know, changes are inevitable. What this does, though, too, is unfortunately it not only affects new business sold from 7/1 of this year and beyond, but it also affects every group that's on the book within the 2 to 99 category. So as of 7/1, any groups that you currently have on the books with Geisinger, as well as any new sold groups, will be paying at $15 per member per month. Not great news to deliver, but definitely something that I had to pass on. And our federally facilitated marketplace certification support sessions will start. Our first one is set for August 7th. There is information out there that the Marketplace Learning Network will have the training modules for 2015 up next week on July 7th. So if you do feel that you want to do this certification yourself, please feel free to do that. I wanted to wait until I was certain that the information was out, so I am, you know, giving it about 30 days, because when they originally said that they were going to be out in July, I was not sure if that meant beginning or end of July. So August 7th is when ours start. If you are planning on coming to one of our sessions, and those invitations are coming out next week, but if you are signing up for any of our sessions, please, before you do come to any of our certification sessions, make sure you go back onto the Marketplace Learning Network, verify that your username and password still works, because my fear is that if you don't do that prior to arriving for the session, you're going to be locked out, and there's no way you can do your certification. You can't use the same email. and you would be locked out of your system and not able to do the certification. So again, just kind of start prepping yourself for that. Also, this year for the certification sessions, we of course will have our laptops available. But if you have a laptop that you want to bring with you, you know, Wi-Fi will be available, and that might be more convenient working from a system of your own. So just keep that in mind. The next bullet point is just a follow-up from last week's webinar regarding Forms 6056 and 6055. And if I can advance the screen somehow, let's see here. There we go. There was a question last week about the 6056 form and 6055 and the type of groups or size of groups that this would be important for. And the 6056 form is for 50-plus groups, any group that would be subject to the pay-or-play rule, whether it's self-insured or fully insured. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. And the required information is the terms and condition of the health plan offered or covered to full-time employees. And what it does is helps the IRS administer the pay-or-play penalty. So that was delayed until 2015. But again, it's something that you want to keep in mind, and an excuse to reach out to your group clients and let them know that you're on top of it. The 6055 form is specific to employers with self-insured health plans, whether it's one or, well, 2 to 1,000 or more. And the employer is required to submit this form giving information on each individual provided with coverage. So again, it also helps to have, helps the IRS administer the penalty. Isn't that nice that we're helping them along? So that's the follow-up, and you know, it's a rather short presentation today, but if you do have questions, go ahead and type them in. I'm happy to answer them. We do have some, and Jay is saying that he wishes all a happy and safe 4th of July weekend. I do as well. And Justin says that Deb, actually Hobby Lobby advocates birth control. They have provided and will continue to provide 16 contraceptives. They only did not want to provide 4 of the 20 contraceptives that would be, you know, considered abortion-type drugs. And yes, that's true, Justin. But you know, it does open the door to allow privately held companies with, you know, under the religious freedom right to deny birth control. And, you know, again, all of us in the business know that birth control was always covered on group health plans, even at a copay. It was just the free, and I say that in parentheses, the free birth control and the new birth control that is covered that could be used for abortion of fetuses. And, you know, so we all know that free is not free anyway, but it is at least, you know, again, kind of a win for Americans, in my opinion. Kim says, did you say that the carriers should send out notices by November 15th for those who didn't give IRS permission on Marketplace, or was that the members who applied with paper apps, or do they need to re-enroll or just renew? For the renewals for Marketplace plans, the carriers, whether, my understanding and how this reads is that the proposed rule says that carriers, whether they enrolled via the Marketplace, healthcare.gov, or through paper applications, are responsible for sending out a notice letting the client know about their renewal, that it's coming up, and that there are options if any cases or any plans have been retired, etc. So November 15th, the carriers are going to be sending that out for renewals. Sharon said, so small groups under 50 who are fully insured don't have to complete these forms. That's correct. 6056 and 6055, if they are fully insured, they do not have to worry about these forms. And Tracy asked the same question. 50 or over for 50 plus for Form 6056, whether they're fully insured or not, and 6055 for self-insured groups down to 2. So if they're self-insured, then 6055 or 6056 would be needed to use depending on their group size. Hope that makes sense. Again, 6056 is for groups of 50 or more, whether they're fully insured or self-insured. 6055 is specific to self-insured groups, and that is for any size group. And Tracy is throwing out a funny. She says, this will make you laugh, but do you know anything about commissions on renewals? And I don't. I just know that what we have for the release commissions for 2014, some carriers do have provisions on the renewal commission. Now, Blue Cross of Northeastern PA, Independence Blue Cross have not issued renewal compensation. At this point, I don't know anything about what their new commission will be for 2015 or the renewal commission will be for cases that were written in 2014. You know, again, a guessing game. Darcy says, do you have any idea, oops, I just lost this. Do you have any idea when we will see the rates for on and off marketplace plans for 2015? I don't, Darcy, but I suspect as they were held closely last year that they're probably going to be held closely again this year. I know that carriers are working to be very competitive again, and as competitive as some of the carriers were this year, but I don't know anything about rates, and again, I suspect we won't know much before open enrollment. I am having a Capital Blue Cross seminar on October 29th, and we're hoping at that time, since it's 2 weeks before enrollment, that we would get at least a good indication of how they're positioning themselves for 2015. And I plan on setting up other, at least webinars for other carriers to talk about their 2015 models. Nate says, ACA renewal and the broker staying connected to renewals is only if member keeps the same plan, correct? And no, Nate, it appears that if there's a change, that at least a renewal change, that the agent would stay hooked up to that case. But again, I don't know these things. This is just the proposed rule. And, you know, as we know, they can propose anything they want, and how it really comes down to real-life work is a different story. So, you know, again, we'll have more information as we get closer to the renewal, but we do have several months to work through those kinks. So I'll keep you guys informed as much as I can. And Jim says, will individuals be required to get a new plan to start 2015 if an old pre-Obama plan, if on an old pre-Obama plan? And Jim, I can tell you that the carriers have not, at least most of them have not announced their grandmothering provisions for non-ACA individual plans, but assuming that they are not offering grandmothering provisions, then their plans end 12/31, and they would be required to get an ACA compliant plan starting 1/1. So again, you know, it's a situation where we have to kind of wait and see what the carriers are going to do, but if they are not grandmothering, then yes, they will need to get a new plan. Justin says, thanks for sharing. Hobby Lobby, I agree the decision was a narrow victory for freedom. I noticed you changed what I wrote, but thanks for sharing. Well, I just didn't really change it, Justin. I just tried to consolidate it. That's all. It was a rather long statement, so that's all. So that appears to be all of the questions submitted today. If you want to type in questions in the next few minutes or a few seconds, go ahead and do that. But until then, I wanted to at least, if I can get in here, say Happy Independence Day to everyone. I hope you guys have a healthy and happy and safe holiday weekend. and we'll pick back up where we left off, start Monday. So again, enjoy your weekend, and thanks so much for your business, and thanks for joining in every week. I truly appreciate it. Next Thursday at 9:30, the 10th, is our next webinar, so I hope you can join us then. Until then, be safe, and thanks.